All right, welcome to page 42 in your binders and our lessons on compound time signatures. A couple lessons ago we did our lesson on simple time signatures. That's where you can have a beat that can be divided in half, strictly in half. For example, a quarter note, the beat is a quarter note that can be divided into two eighth notes, or the beat is a half note that can be divided into two quarter notes. Now we have time signatures that we feel in triplets. So, as an example, the first example is 6/8 time signature. 6/8, or compound duple, is the most often used compound time signature. Consists of 6 eighth notes in a bar, grouped into two beats of 3 eighth notes. So the primary beat is the dotted quarter note. We talked about this in one of the previous lessons as well, where you have groupings of 3 eighth notes, just like this. See how they're beamed in threes? That's how we feel them. 1, 2, 3, 1. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We feel that triplet pulse, and that's why we call it compound duple time. The compound means we have triplets. The duple means we have two of them. So we have two sets of triplets, or as you can see, 2 sets of triplets. In another bar of 6/8, you might have this, 2 dotted quarter notes. Again, 2 sets of triplets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each of those beats is an eighth note. Ta, 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 ta. And then it can be counted like this, and the way you vocalize it is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and which really gives you that triplet feel. When you're using the numbers, you would certainly say 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. If you're just saying the triplets, sometimes I like to say triple, triple, triple. Any way you want to feel that triplet pulse is fine. But just know that any time signature you have that has that triplet pulse, that is compound time signatures, right? And that's the big thing of what we're doing right now. So this page talks about compound duple, or triplets, where you have 2 sets of triplets, like 6/8. All right, so getting on to the exercises down here, it says write 4 measures of eighth notes in 6/8 time. Really, all you're going to do is take this bar right here in the gray area and copy it in, making sure, of course, to group your eighth notes into triplets, into groupings of 3. Now, in the next little section, they don't give you much room to write, but regardless, they tell you in 6/8 time, the primary beat is what? The primary beat actually is the dotted quarter note. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and like I said, they don't give you much room to write, but the primary beat is the dotted quarter note. Or I guess you could have just done this. You could just draw the dotted quarter note as is, and away you go. So the primary beat is the dotted quarter note, and there are how many of what kind of pulses in each measure? There are in fact 6. And let's just do this. 6 eighth note pulses in each measure. All right? But the primary beat is the triplet groupings of those eighth notes, the dotted quarter note right there. Okay? All right, moving on. In order to write the correct time signature, you have to look at not only what kind of notes are in the bar, but how they are grouped. You'll notice in this line of music and on this line of music, you have the same number of the same kind of beat. But look at how they are grouped, and that should be your answer. That should help give it away in terms of what time signature goes in each of those, on each of those lines. The rest of this worksheet should seem pretty self-explanatory. Describe in your own words the difference between 3/4 and 6/8. Yes, mathematically they have the same amount of notes and time in the bars, but there is a very distinct difference. And then complete the bars with eighth notes correctly grouped. So make sure you're showing the different beats of the bars because we're in compound time. And then finally at the bottom, add bar lines to this rhythm. You are given a time signature. Show where the bar lines go throughout the music. I want you to pause the video right now, finish this worksheet, and we'll go immediately into the next page, which is very much related. So pause the video right now, finish this worksheet. Go. Right, so moving on to compound triple time. Remember, quick review, the compound means we are in triplets, okay? And now we have the word triple here, which means we have 3 of them. In compound duple, we had 2 sets of triplets. In compound triple, we have 3 sets of triplets. And if you look in the gray box, 9/8 is known as compound triple time. Consists of 9 eighth notes in a measure, 3 dotted quarter note beats of 3 eighth notes, right? You'll see in here, this looks like 6/8, but with an extra set of triplets. That's why it's compound triple, because we have 1, 2, 3 sets of triplets. All right, so eighth note pulses like this, dotted quarter note beats, we feel 3 beats per bar. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and can be counted or subdivided as 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a. All right, that's why we call it compound time. It's triple because we have 3 beats. It's compound because each beat is divided into triplets. The rest of this page really is just working in this time signature. Okay, when you count 9/8 time, like I said, we just count in 3 beats in triplets. So take a minute, write out 2 bars of eighth notes in 9/8 time. You'll have 3 sets of triplets here, 3 sets of triplets there, and then complete the sentence just like in the previous page. We're going to have, in this case, 9/8 time, there are how many dotted what rhythms? In 9/8 time, there are 3 dotted quarter note beats in each bar, which are subdivided into groups of, well, they're subdivided into groups of 3 eighth notes each. So I'm going to just jump in here a little bit smaller, into groups of 3 eighth notes. So groupings of 3, which is why it's compound, and 3 of them, which makes it triple time. All right. So real quick, finish off this worksheet using some of these rhythmic exercises. Complete each measure with eighth notes, making sure they are grouped correctly, and mark each measure with a checkbox if it has the right number of beats. So compare the time signature with the rhythms in the bar. Do they match? Yes. Do they not match? X. All right. Finish that real quick, and we'll go right on into page 44. Pause the video now, finish this worksheet, and we'll carry on. All right, to see the title of this page, hopefully you can surmise exactly what we're doing here. We're still in compound time, which means we're still feeling triplets. And now we're, instead of duple, instead of triple, we are in quadruple time. So that means we have 4 groupings of triplets in a bar, or what's otherwise known as 12/8 time. 12/8 is known as compound quadruple. Consists of 12 eighth notes in a bar. All of this explanation is exactly the same as the previous pages, but for 4 sets of triplets instead of 3 or 2. So we have eighth note pulses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they're felt in triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. So this should be pretty straightforward, especially if you had success on the previous 2 pages. Complete each of these bars with eighth notes correctly grouped. So finish this off. Oops, sorry. Finish this line off. Finish this line off. Fill it in with eighth notes, and then add time signatures to these rhythms. So study the music that's in here. Look at how beats are grouped, and decide what time signature is most appropriate for those lines of music. At the bottom, complete this sentence. In 12/8 time, each bar consists of 4 what kind of beats? With an underlying pulse of how many eighth notes per beat. Well, this fill in the blank, since we did it on the previous pages together, let's do this one together. In 12/8 time, each bar consists of 4 what kinds of beats? Well, let's review back to the top. What do we have 4 of in 12/8 time? You can see right there we have 4 dotted quarter note. And that's why they give you 3 blank spaces here. They want you to write 4 dotted quarter note. Beats in a bar with an underlying pulse of how many eighth notes per beat? How many eighth notes are in each dotted quarter note? Well, you have 3 because we're feeling triplets. So you have 3 eighth notes per beat, 4 beats in the bar. That gives you 12 eighth notes in the bar, or that hence the time signature 12/8. All right. The last little activity at the bottom, describe each time signature in the tables below as simple or compound. Look at the time signature and decide, when I break this down, when I feel this time signature, can I break it down? Does each beat get broken down into triplets, or does it get broken down into duplets, as in divided straight in half? If it's divided in half, it's simple. If it's divided into triplets, it's compound, right? Finish that up, and that's the end of this lesson. See you in the next one.